recipe calls for 5 egg yolks. Okay, so my favorite way of separating egg yolks is like this. You could do it any way you prefer, but I like to gently open it up, crack it into my hand, okay, discard the shell, and then kind of let the egg yolk roll down your fingertips, and then let the whites go through your fingers, okay? And that's what you're looking for, okay? Make sure there's no egg yolk in there, especially if you're gonna save this for meringue. If there's any yellow in there, it's gonna screw up your meringue. Okay, so now we're gonna put our burner on high heat to boil our water to get our double boiler started. So you're gonna start on high heat, all right? Once this bad boy starts to boil, then you're going to put your egg yolks on there with the sugar mixed in as per the recipe, and you're gonna turn the heat down and keep stirring until it thickens up. While I wait for my water to boil, I'm just going to whisk my egg yolks and sugar together real well. Make sure you whisk it until it's really well incorporated, okay? Okay, so this is really well incorporated here. I put my zest, as you can see there. I'm going to put my 1/3 of juice, okay? And then mix that really well. And then I'm gonna put it on my double boiler. You see my water's boiling now. Okay, I'm gonna lower the heat, put this on here, and then start mixing, okay? You have to continuously keep mixing, lower the heat, and continuously mix until it thickens up. Okay, this takes about 7 or 8 minutes. So you gotta keep moving, don't stop. So let's check in here on our double boiler. It's starting to thicken up a little bit. All right, but remember to constantly keep stirring or you're gonna get scrambled eggs. We don't want no scrambled eggs. All right, so I've whisked this for about 8 minutes or so. And we're looking for that coating on the back of the spoon, which is called nappe in French. Okay, so let's get a spoon real quick. I mean, you don't have to test like this, but if it goes like this and you can put a line through it, that's what we're looking for. So now, this is the part that we don't have our nice scrambled eggs. We're gonna put in 1 bit of butter at a time. I put this on the bottom, so you can stir and it won't move. You see how you can stir with one hand and it won't move. So you're stirring the butter in 1 piece at a time, and you put the next one in as this one dissolves, okay? Don't put all 8 at a time because it's gonna seize up and it's gonna not become a nice pastry cream. So you see this one's about done. Just keep whisking. There's a lot of arm work in this, but it's worth the flavor in the end, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and show you all of them, and then that one's gone, so I'm gonna put another one in, okay? And then I'm gonna continue until it's thickened. All right, so I've whisked in my last piece of butter. You can see it's nice and smooth. I did it properly so it's not scrambled eggs, and you should have like a nice runny consistency. Once it cools, it'll become like pudding-like or almost pastry cream consistency. I'm gonna finish it with a little more of my zest because that's how I like it. It's also good with a little bit of basil in there. Lemon and basil are BFFs in my opinion. Okay, so let's give it a little taste. All right, like I said, nice and thick on the back. Coats the back of the spoon real well. Okay, let's taste it a little bit. Oh yes! Okay, so it's good. Let's get our containers, label them, and put them away for tomorrow's tartlets or at the shoe or whatever we're doing with this. Okay, enjoy. All right, so let's go over what we're doing today. We're going to roll out our pastry and then make our little turnovers or hand pastries, as they say. So there's a few ways you do it. You can roll it out, and then we could use this ring cutter here that's from a set. It has multiple sizes, but we're going to use the largest one. If you can't get this, if there's not enough in class, you can always use one of these empty containers and push down. All right, so we're going to roll out this dough. I have my pastry cream here. We're going to use 1 leveled black scoop. I have poppy seeds in mine. That's the black spots. You could still add them. Got my egg wash, my flour, and then I'm just going to show you real quick if you want to make the cups for the tartlet shells. All right, it's a way of molding it together with 2, but this is very more time consuming, and if you have 45-minute periods, it really won't be able to do it unless you stay after school. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so make sure, get my cutter, make sure I got enough flour on it. I'm gonna start making circles, okay? Just give it a little spin. Okay, just pour the next one. Now you can make these bigger too with this one here. Okay, just make sure you flour it so you don't have to do so many. Okay, I would suggest not doing this dough more than twice over because then the crust kind of gets a little gnarly, all right? Okay, you could also cut it into squares, but this way is easier. All right, now I'll show you how to do the dish. All right, so now before we fill them, we're gonna put a little egg wash on the outside. But we're also gonna seal it with the egg wash as well, okay? So just lightly go around the edges. You don't want too much egg around because this is a pastry, you want this to be able to stick, okay? Better. Don't worry if you get in the middle, as long as you get it in the edges and the sides, okay? And then we'll add our stuff, and just like the empanadas, just put it right in the middle, okay? If you see that sticking to your spatula, I mean your scooper, just spray a little Pam in the scoop and it'll come right out, okay? Just move that over. Then I'm gonna take my fork, all right? Maybe dip that in a little egg wash as well. And then I'm gonna flip it over here and just turn it over into little hand pies, okay? Just line up the sides, okay? Try not to get any of that glue on the outside. If it comes out, just wipe it off, okay? And then we're going to just fork it closed, okay? So they're gonna look like little Debbie pies almost, okay? Same with this one here. Just make sure it's sealed. Same thing here. Just get the edges, just push out lightly. Just make sure it's sealed. Doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Then I'm gonna tray these up, and then we're gonna brush them, and I'm gonna add a little sprinkle of crystallized salt, just for another crunch. And then I'll show you how to do the meringue tart shell. Okay, so these guys are ready to bake. I'm gonna get my egg wash. I got 2 egg yolks and a dash of cream in here, okay? So that's a little egg yolk, 2 egg yolks and a bit of cream. Make sure you paint everything really well, okay? You want to avoid that. If that happens, just, you know, blot it up, okay? I'm just rushing here. I gotta slow down. And just same thing all the way across. Okay, just get everything nice. Alright, these are looking nice. I'm gonna take some of my thick crystallized sugar, just put a little bit on top, just to give it a little more crunch, a little more sexiness. Okay, alright, what the hell? Alright, just put some of this on there. Okay, you can make a meringue and dip it in there. You can even make a meringue and put it on the side. Deep fry, you can do so many different things with these. I'm gonna pop these in about 400-degree oven for about 10 to 15 or so, and then we'll get back to it and I'll show you how to do the tart shell. Alright, so I do these lovely tart shells like many meringues in this disposable mold. We're gonna use this as our circumference, and then we're going to want to cut at least a little around it, about a ½ inch or so. You do this with most tart shells. You want it to be like this. So we're going to use this to measure, and then make sure it's centered, and then push down, and use that as our mold, okay? Okay. Now, make sure this is floured on the inside, just a little bit. Shake out the excess, okay? And now, gently pick this up. Now we're going to kind of stretch it a little bit with our fingertips, and then we're going to push it down into the mold like so. Okay, if it ridges a little bit at the top, that's fine, but just kind of go around like this as you push in to try to get the tops to stick up, okay? Just work your fingers around. You can see I'm doing pushing down and making like this kind of a motion, and then make sure you have your fingers pushing down to the bottom all the way down to make sure that's it, stuck. We're going to blind bake these, okay, but first we're going to dock them, all right? So let me just get my trusty fork, wherever that may be. I've got my fork, all right, so I'm going to just put a little flour on it. I'm going to dock the bottom. That means to put holes to make sure that it doesn't puff up from the bottom. That's also why we're going to put 2 together to make sure that it doesn't rise out, okay? So I'm going to press against the sides now, make sure this is all up. Any excess, bring up to the top, or even crimp it over so that doesn't shrink too much, because you'll see when these bake they'll shrink, but that's okay. Okay. And when these are done, you would probably fill them about halfway with the curd and then the meringue, because this full of curd is way too sweet, way too much. You get the diabetes, okay? So, I can make fun of it because I have diabetes, all right? So, and take the fork, go around and make impressions like that as you push down to the bottom, but don't push too hard where you compromise the integrity of the aluminum container. Okay, just gently press against your palm, get those effects going. Okay, so now we have like a nice tall happy crust. So we're gonna blind bake this. Blind baking means you're baking it without a filling, okay? So you can see it, and now we're gonna take another one, make sure it's just lightly floured, and then put it on here, bake it for about 10 minutes or so at 400, push in a little bit, but not too much, like I said, to compromise the form, all right? So we're gonna let this bake for about 10-15 minutes, take it out, I'm gonna brush it with a little egg wash, and then bake it again to get some more golden brown, because with this in it, it's not going to cook in the center, but it's gonna keep its shape. All right, so these guys came out nice, all right? Just a few things I want to talk about. This is the color we're looking at around here. They're very hot. Okay, so let them cool for a little bit before you eat them, but they have that nice crust. You want a little brown on the edges. But you can see here, this is the problem, even with other turnovers on bananas. If you put too much filling, or if you don't crimp it well enough, it's gonna come out. And especially with this stuff, you know, it's mostly egg and butter, so it's gonna really come out if you don't seal it well. So please make sure you seal it well. You use the egg wash or the water, use the fork, press hard, and make sure it's really sealed. If you're not sure, please call me over and I will help you out, okay? All right, so if you had time to do the mold tartlet with the aluminum utility cups, so you'll see it's a little hot now, so I'm just gonna show you here. You take the top off. You see how it's kind of puffed up a little bit here. It's hot, so be careful. And you see you have a nice tart shell. You can make these in any size. You see it's a little undercooked here. If you want to put them back in now upside down and just bake them a little more, it'd be perfect, but you could put your curd in now. Okay, this is freaking hot. You can put your curd in now up to halfway, bake it off, and then you can put the meringue and then torch it, get that really nice lemon meringue look. All right, enjoy the project, guys. Have a nice day.